See, polymorphism, there are two types of polymorphism, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Firstly, let's
Okay.
try to understand what is the actual meaning of polymorphism. Like the word polymorphism, it will be very, like you will heard it many times. Like in
Yes.
polymorphism, it helps you to call a function like when it should be called, like on at runtime or compile time. Like a function, how should it decide which part of the which part it should be executed with what way? Like there are different ways of implementing a same type. Right? Like there is a question, and you have different methods of solving the same problem. The polymorphism is like a same thought. Like you have to decide like which method or which you have to use to solve a particular problem. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
something like that. So in polymorphism, a member function will causes a different function to be executed depending on the type of object that invokes it. Like it depends like which type of object it invokes. Like suppose there is a base class function and then a child class function is called of that. So how it will work, we will see in the later half. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, like there are of two types: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. So we will be firstly discussing the compile time polymorphism. So yeah, like compile time polymorphism is of it comes like various types. Firstly, we will be discussing about function overloading. Function overloading, no, you have been like we have seen in everyday life, but we haven't like no, okay, it is known as function overloading. Like suppose I give you two integers, you add them up
Okay.
like the sum. Okay, now
Yeah.
suppose I give you two decimals, you also add them up.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
have two different data types, like decimal, a float, and integer. But
Yeah.
the addition operator, the plus operator, adds them up. No, it does not.
Yes.
It knows. Okay, this time there are now suppose if I add two strings, it will
Mm-hmm.
not add directly. It will okay understand. Okay, the plus means here concatenating. So this is
Okay.
eventually a function overloading. Function overloading
Okay.
is the
Okay.
ability to have the multiple functions with the same name, but different parameters listed within the scope that
Okay.
allows you
Okay.
to redefine the function that performs a similar operation but on different types or different time or of parameters. Suppose, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That see, suppose I want to calculate a cost. This is the same function I call with different parameters. Like suppose firstly I send only one parameter, only weight, then it will do
Mm-hmm.
something. And suppose I added one more parameter, distance, then it will do something. So now which function out of these will be called? It depends on what parameter I passed. Like suppose I passed only one parameter. So my computer is very smart. It will understand, okay, you said only it won't give an error. Like if you define like three functions like with the same name, if there is the same parameter, it will give an error. You understand, right? Because
Yes.
same names. But yeah, they are not same. They're different because they have different parameters. That's what the basic meaning of function overloading. That's allow you to define the same function name, similar operation, but on different types, different number of parameters. Like suppose, let's try to give in real life example. Like a shipping company needs to calculate the cost of shipping packages on different parameters such as weight, volume, and distance. Now suppose they don't know about all the data at every time, right? Let's suppose they only
Yeah.
know the weight. So they should calculate on the basis of that. And suppose they know the weight and the volume more preciseness, so it will be calculated on the basis of that.
Okay. Okay.
But you can say like we can do with the help of if else also this thing same thing, right? Like we know weight
Yeah.
or not, but it would be very hectic, right? Just only one function we need to call from this main part because this part this already implemented, we don't need to implement again and again, but in the if else part we have to implement it again and again, so that is becomes very hectic. So to reduce this we use the concept like of function overloading to ease out our concept. So yeah, so in this example the shipping company class demonstrate the function overloading by defining three different calculate cost functions. Each functions take different parameters, numbers, types, allowing the calculation of a shipping cost. Like it's very easy it becomes, right? And
Yeah.
helps maintain a consistent interface. Like it does not depend what do you have. Like you are calling the similar functions again and again, right? And for the user, it's
Yeah.
very easy. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously, this is the job of a programmer. Here is the programmer is working. Here is a normal person working. He don't know, right? Like what is going
Mm-hmm.
on inside it. So yeah. So this is the basic of function only. Let's try to implement it in our C in code, VS Code. Yeah. So yeah. Like these are the concepts of oops no because these are used in everyday life, so you are able to relate. And if you understand in terms of real life, real world applications, no, then you will explain it to other person also better.
Yeah.
That is how you
Mm-hmm.
should learn these concepts. So let's say and try to figure out more examples. Say okay, yeah, there also I use this concept, so yeah, it will help you to memorize, not memorize but yeah, understand better. So
Okay. Okay.
let's try. Let's define a class, whatever, shipping or whatever, shipping, shipping, and I define, let's say I define a calculate for cost function, public, let's define public and void calculate I will writing cost, and suppose I give firstly two integer parameters, only one parameter, so then
Yeah.
just I printed, okay, out price is A, prices and sorry, and I just okay, basically we printed the price. So yeah, and suppose the same function we just changes the parameter. The function name should be exact same. Okay,
Yeah.
let's I give anything I can give. I just give A and B, and the price becomes now suppose A plus B. Let's try to see what happens. Let's make an object of shipping as, and let's try to call the functions as dot cost. Now it depends like which type of function you call. If by default it is giving a allegoric, both the function is giving, right? Like which one I want to
Yeah.
call. So let's say firstly I give 5 and, 5 comma 10 if I give, yeah, you will be okay with that also. So like many of these function overloading is already implemented in the class itself. So you will see many functions by default you're using, but you're not familiar with that. I will tell you in later what are those functions as well. So yeah, like this is 5 and 15. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how it is implemented. So yeah, let's move forward. Now the other type of compile time polymorphism is one more type is function overriding. Like first half was first function overloading and it was function overriding. Function see this is slightly difficult to try to focus. See function overriding is a concept in object oriented, like there are same function names but they are in the different classes, like in using inheritance, like one function I define in the base class with the name parent. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
in the inherited class or the child class I again write that function. Like suppose if I don't write this function, I if this function is not being written, so I can directly use this print function, no, because I already inherit this class publicly from the base class, right? But I also define the print function in the child class also. Now what will happen? This is the question. This is something known as function overriding. Like in child class also, I define the same function name. Now this creates a confusion, right? Like
Yeah.
this print function will be called because if you make a object of vehicle, there is no confusion because obviously there's only one print method, so print will be called this vehicle print will be called. But when you create a car child class object, now what will happen, we have to see that thing, that is where comes a function overriding. So yeah, so let's suppose we created two uh, objects, vehicle v and car c. V dot print, obviously vehicle will be printed, c dot print, car will be printed. But here comes the twist. Like when you create an object of V1 vehicle type and
Mm-hmm.
give the reference of C type, like what happens is you create an object of vehicle V1 pointer type. But you know this pointer referencing, right? We can create,
Yes, yes.
yeah, this is static method of creating objects, and this is dynamic method of creating object with the help of new keyword. Like what happens is like we are here, it is dynamic. This is dynamic, and this is static method. Basically, you can say like it's heap here heap memory is allocated, and it is here static memory like stack memory is allocated. It's like very less space. Very less space is allocated to this. Usually, we define object in this fashion. It's like this is more uh, good way to define objects.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Okay, okay.
so yeah. Now here comes the twist. We create an object of type vehicle, but give a reference of type car. This child class object. Now, which function will be called? Now, v1 word print obviously will call vehicle, but what will v2 dot print will call? That is the question. V2 will print call again the vehicle because the print function when we call, no, this is a case of compile time polymorphism where compiler decided the runtime. See, we have not decided yet what will be called at the do you understand the difference between the compile time and runtime, right? Compile time means when I'm writing the code itself, like if I
Mm-hmm.
just show you, when I'm writing the code, I getting an error. There's something known as compile time and runtime error. Suppose I will show you the difference between compile time and runtime error. Suppose I write
Okay, okay.
print, see this one. This will give me an error. I'm at the
Okay.
compiling only. I got the error because
Okay.
this is
Yes.
okay. Okay. And now suppose
Yeah.
there's something known as runtime error. What is the runtime error? See this one. See, this is 5 by 0 won't be defined, right? It's
Yeah.
not defined. Now let's try to see what will happen. See, it will give me error, right? Division by error, division by 0. So this is
Yeah.
on the basis of runtime. The computer don't know, right? What happens till now.
Yep.
This is the valid code. Like I suppose instead of 0, I give a 1. This is a valid code. That in that way only he thought 5 by 0 is also valid code. So at compiler mode it's not able to decide is it wrong or right. But at the runtime when you run the code, oh it got the okay you're dividing by 0, you're doing a mistake. This is a known as a runtime. So this is in
Okay,
the
okay.
same concept it applied there as well. That compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Runtime computer have to decide like compiler have to decide to which method it should be called. Like it should be called the base class method, this one, or this one. Like you will see in the code as well,
Yep.
which method will be called. So by default, like this you have to remember, whenever you create an object, whichever object type is created, that method will be
Mm-hmm.
called. Like it does not
Okay.
depend which reference it gave. Like we gave the reference of car, right? Car type.
Yes.
But it does not depends on that. It depends on which method which object type it is created. So V2, it's for vehicle type. So that's why it prints the vehicle. Let's try to see with the help of example. We can overcome this problem also. Like that's the solution we will discuss later. Okay. Like suppose you want to print car only. So how will we do that? That will also discuss. So yeah, let's try to see the this one. So with this is known as function. Don't get confused. See, people get confused in between both the terms. First was function overloading. This was function overriding. Okay,
Yep.
both have same name. The function name should be consistent, same in both the cases. Okay, function overloading. This is let's try to give some function overriding. Function. We have to for function overriding. We have to create a child classes. So we have shipping or suppose class child publicly I'm inheriting public and which class is this shipping? Okay.
Yep.
So let's try to again write the cost function only. I'm removing this for, okay, it's fine, no problem there. Let's say I can again defining a one with one parameter. I'm redefining the cost parameter. Void cost mm, in int a, and suppose 2a I'm printing now. But for the sake of easiness, I write in the child class. Price in child class. To understand it better, child class is 2a. Let's suppose 2 into a, and price in derived class. No, sorry, base class. Base class. This is child class. This is base class. And let's try to understand what will happen. So let's remove
Okay,
this.
okay.
Firstly, let's try to create an object of this one as well, child as well. So child C. Okay, this is base class. This is derived class. We made an object. Firstly, let's try to call cost method. Cost 5. What will happen? And S dot cost. What will happen? S. Whenever S doesn't matter, right? S will
Mm-hmm.
always call this function only because there is
Yes.
no function overriding in there. The function overriding is there in the child class. So that's, but I am giving writing so it will be understand better. Okay, C dot cost. What? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Public. Sorry, sorry. Public. I left. I always write public. So cost 5 or let's say 10. 5 only. Let's say suppose I give 5. So yeah, let's try to see what will happen here. So yeah, the first was the child class. The child class
Mm-hmm.
10 was called because I got 2 into it. And the second one was s dot cost. So it was in the base class. It was 5. Okay. Till now, clear?
Yes.
Now let's try to create a pointer type objects. Like, okay, that's shipping star s1 is equals to new shipping new object. And let's say I create also a child class object as well. Child star c is equals to new child. This is two objects I created. Now to access this function, I can't use a dot method, right? Now to use the
Yep.
same methods, you have to use like the dash and right? So let's say I need to call, and now what I do is I s1 of type it is shipping, and I give the reference of child type C. So what will happen? So I give the reference of child type. Okay. Now let's
Yep.
try to see what will happen. Okay, remove this. Already I see I already made it. So now let's try to call the function of s1 dot cost 5. I can't use that dot method, okay? Because s1 is now a pointer. So pointer type. So to get the methods, you have to use a dash and arrow type to access the all the method. Like whatever you using dot right here, you have to
Mm-hmm.
replace dot with this thing to access everything. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, let's try to see what will happen. See, let me just erase this. See, this is still calling the base class only. Like I've given the reference of child class here, but since S1 is a shipping type object, like base class object, so it's still giving a base class. But suppose, let's say I don't give S1, I give C only, and let's say I called C, let's say it's called C1. What will happen with this? Let's say C1 I called. Now this is a child class object only, C1. Okay, so it will be
Yep.
child only, right? This is the basic difference, whatever I want to convey. So function overloading and function overriding we have discussed till now. Let's move forward. Over all clear till here? Like it will be
Yes.
slight confusion, but yeah, you just read these those slides again. Like examples are also given. So please read that down. It's very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try to discuss about now runtime polymorphism. Now we got a problem, right? Like here v2 dot print is printing base class, but actually it should print like it's I should decide, right? I should able to decide. Oh, child class object should be called or base class object should be called. So to cure this issue, so we have a concept of runtime polymorphism. It demonstrates the property of dynamic resolution or late binding. Late binding means like it's not decided yet, right? When the code is
Yep.
running, at that moment it is being decided which function should be called. So we need to override the print function of vehicle class so that the car print is called. I want to call the car print method. This is done by making the print function virtual in the base class. It's very important now the new concept came virtual, like it's a keyword. Like suppose everything, right? Void is a keyword, right? Some this is virtual. We define the function. If we
Okay.
define the function virtual, now the computer understand, okay, you already defined the base class function as virtual. That means you want to call the child function only whenever this type of case happens, right? Whenever this type of
Yep.
case happens, when object of different type, reference of different type, what is the confusion? So if you wrote nothing you wrote, it will still be confusion and V2, the type of objects function will be called. But
Oh, okay.
but if
Type
you
two. Okay.
define it virtual, the computer understand, okay, you want that. Because it is in your control. You can do anything. So if you write virtual, it will call the child class function this time. Like now for V2 print, the car print function will be called because now due to achievement of function overriding by marking the vehicle print function as virtual. Okay. This behavior changes during runtime, leading to the correct method being called. This demonstrates the runtime polymorphism. This is very important. Like suppose someone asks you like how you will achieve runtime polymorphism anywhere, not in C++, anywhere. So you should answer with the help of virtual functions. Like this is very important. Okay.
Okay. Virtual. Okay. Yep.
Virtual functions is very important. We will discuss like virtual functions, virtual table. Like, this is the most important concept in polymorphism. So we will have to understand it better. Okay. So yeah. Let's see what happens. The same example it is. Let's try to see. Like this is the same example. What we have done. Just we just defined the class as virtual here. So what happens? Let's try to see in our code as well. So let's suppose here I define this function as virtual. This is a keyword only. Just add before the function. Okay. And you add
Mm-hmm.
virtual. Let's try to see what will happen if I call this one. Let's see. See, it is called child, right? Now the
Yep.
child function is called. Like it is on in our hand. What do you want to do? You want to call child function, define it virtual. If you don't want that, base class will be called by default. So this is
Yeah,
how
okay. Okay.
this will be achieved. This is known as, let me write it. Here function override. Writing. Uh, Now let's try to understand better. Same. Now let's get move to the next topic, which is known as operator overloading. Okay. Now, what is operator overloading? Let's try to understand this. Okay. Just a second. So, operator overloading, like which I told you before, like there are many operators. Like the plus operator is there. It concatenates the strings as well. It adds to number as well. It adds to decimal as well, right?
Yep.
So into multiple functions and internally know, okay, on the type of input we gave, it will produce the corresponding output. So suppose there are, let's suppose two matrices are there. It's not in by default it is given, but suppose if I view two matrices, obviously you can't add simply, right? You have to add by matrix algebra. How to add two matrices? Similarly to vectors. But if I give you two strings, you will add concatenate them. If I give you two integers, you will add them like number by number. So it depends, and computer is very smart. and it understand, okay, with on the basis of input it will give you an output of different type of uh functions on the same plus operator will give you, okay. Similarly,
Yep.
all the minus is there, divide, equal to also. Suppose it checks different data types, right? It checks two strings are equal or not, two anyone like integer data type, a char data type or equal or not. So all are these are types of operator overloading. So basically also now this is you already defined, but also we can also define user defined of concept of this. Like if I want to a new definition of plus on our data structure. Let's suppose I created a class of vector and I want to add two vectors. So I
Yep.
want whenever I write a plus between two objects of my class, it should add the whatever way I implemented the class. Okay. So
Yep.
let's try to, we will see with the help of example only. This means you can provide custom implementations for those operators to work with the objects of your own class, enabling a more natural and intuitive syntax for your types. Let's try to, yeah, like the real world example I was talking about the vector class only. Like there is,
Yep.
like, if I just told you this is X and Y, right? This is X and this is Y. So let's try to add them, how we can add them. So we have to add those vectors because obviously you can't add directly, right? You have to use, okay, the X component will be added in the X component only and the Y component will be added in the Y component only. So let's try to define the firstly the class of vector and we will do it later. Okay. Let's try to define the vector class. See, these concept, no, you have to also write the code. Like whenever I teach it, try to practice and try
Mm-hmm.
to practice with examples because this is
Yeah. Yeah.
something you code it and you will understand it more better.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So and yeah, whatever your assignments you give, try to give your complete efforts and then we will discuss
Yeah.
also. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Class, okay, vector. So vector is there. So obviously it have, let's say I'm assuming a two-dimensional vector only.
Yep.
Like int x, int y. So yeah, and let's try to define a constructor. So to define a constructor vector, okay, in a int b, and we give x is equals to a and y equals to b. So here we initialize our like vector, how and we initialize our this is our constructor and this is our class. Okay, fine, fair enough. Hmm. So basically we define our vector class. Now what we want to do? Now we what our objective is, I want to add two vectors. Like so I have to write my custom of operator overloading. Like I need to change this plus how it like whenever I do this v1 plus
Mm-hmm.
v2, it should add my two vectors. That's all I want. Okay. So
Yep.
let's try to understand how it will do. So the syntax is something like this. You have to write like this is the class name you have to write class name and then you have to write the operator keyword like exactly operator you have to write operator which operator you want to overload. Now this is it should be already defined like plus minus whatever it should be already defined in it should not be any new thing, okay.
Yeah.
So like it should be plus and like whatever if this is an input you want to give and then what we have done this we initialize another object like vector sum 0 0 to store the answer final result of our uh, uh, like sum, okay. So what we have done
Yes.
this keyword is helps to like nothing it does it helps to differentiate between this x and this x like this x is our class x, okay,
Okay.
this one public one, okay. So to differentiate this we use the this keyword, okay, like because v dot x also is a x, right? So it is
Mm-hmm.
not able to differentiate, okay, which x you are talking about. So this x helps us, okay, you are talking about the class x, class wala
Okay.
x,
Okay.
and this x is of this v because v also have two x, right? X and y, v
Yeah.
dot x v dot y, yeah. That's how you can use it also. I think like it's not necessary. You can write directly simply x also, but yeah, it's a better practice. Like the reader will understand. Okay, which x are you talking about? Because suppose I wrote the code and you are reading it, so you get confused. You can get confused, right? Like which x you are
Yes,
talking
yes.
about.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So yeah, so this is why I use this keyword. And this is same thing like sum dot x adding both the x components and sum dot y adding both the y components and just returning the sum. Now very important to understand. We don't give two inputs here. Like we give the one input here, and what happens is one input is itself this one. This one, no?
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
is completely itself a one input. This is input one already. Like whenever you do this thing, this is the input. This is like if you're able to see this thing. This is this one. V1 plus. We already defined here. So that's why already we need to do right one more. Like what happens, what we do generally is like we do like this, right? Whenever we want to do some operation, we give int a and int b and add, right?
Yeah.
Then a plus b, something like that. We give two inputs, but I'm not doing this thing. Try to see what I am doing here. Here I already defined this v1 here, vector operator plus. Okay, so
Yeah.
whenever adding vector here, so it's already understanding. Okay, v1 is already incorporated here, and then I adding a plus. Okay, this is a plus, and then we are giving. Oh, sorry. Then I am giving an input. Okay, so this is
Okay.
means
Okay.
that this v2 is this one v, and this v1 is already incorporated. Means this of x, our class was v1. So using this, you are calling the v1 method. This is for like for our example, it is v1. Okay, you understand, right? Like this one is
Yeah.
this x is for v1 and this for v2. So yeah, let's try to see with the in the code. Okay, let's try. Okay, so we define the vector class. Let's try to write the method of vector. Yeah, this one you have to write vector, and then you have to write operator. Operator is already defined keyword, so don't need to worry. Operator plus. Okay, so operator plus I defined, and then I give an input vector only, and suppose I give v only. V. You can give a reference also not required. Like you can directly without reference also. So yeah, like vector operator plus, and yeah. Now let's try to create one more dummy to return whatever we want to
Mm-hmm.
return. So sum, and we have already have a constructor. So 0, 0, we define. So basically we defined the vector sum. Okay. Now let's try
Yeah.
to add this sum dot x is equals to this dot x. This dot x. This is understand. Okay, this operator you are talking about, and then the v dot x.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
And similarly, the sum dot y method and this dot y and v dot y. Okay, now just return the sum. Return the sum. Let's try to see what happens. So yeah, let's try to comment out this code. Let's try to create an object of v1. So let's say 1 2 vector v1 1 comma 2. Also let's try to another vector. Vector. Why say like I got vector this one and vector v2. Let's say 2 comma 3, and let's say I want to add them. So yeah, vector. Oh, sorry, vector v v or so let's say sum only. Sum is equals to
Mm-hmm.
v1 plus v2. Suppose if I don't define this one, no, it will give me error.
Yeah. Yes.
If I just don't define this. this one. So you don't understand the meaning of what is this, okay? Because
Yep.
it's not defined yet. Because it is, I am defining my vector class. This is not available inside the library, standard library. That's why we need
Mm-hmm.
to define this method. So computer will understand. Okay. So you are custom. This is custom defined operator overloading. Okay. So yeah, let's try to see the results. Eventually, it should have 3 in the x part and 5 in the y part.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, sum dot y and of L. Should see. Hopefully, it should work.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So 3 5. So yeah, it works. So yeah, that's how it works. Like create added. What we have done, just simply initialize one more dummy variable, added all the stuff. This dot x, this dot y. This dot x is for v1 part. This was for v2 part, and just we added two stuffs. Cool. So yeah,
Yep.
sorry. So yeah, this is how we done it. Let's try to see more operator overloading parts. Like suppose we want to write the difference class as well. Let's try to write the difference class as well. So yeah, vector. Similarly, the operator. And like we can define that. This is how the complete algebra was defined for everything. Like matrix size. Suppose in if you write in Python, no, like directly
Yep.
you can uh, add two matrices, but in C++ you can't do that. In Python they already define these libraries. So okay, directly they add the matrices with the help of those. That's why some people say Python is easy. Yeah. So, say
Okay, okay.
vector def 0 0, and then wait, def dot x is equals to this dot x minus v dot x, and def dot y is equals to this dot x minus v dot y. Okay, and then return def. Yeah. Similarly, what we have done here, just try def v1 minus v2 sum dot diff dot x, and basically this is diff dot x diff dot y, basically minus 1 minus 2, like minus 1 from here minus 2. It should not happen. Wait, what happened? Something well done. Oh, it should be y. Sorry. So yeah, minus 1 okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this is how like we can do more multiple things. You can multiply also. And now this is similar as function overloading this time, okay? Because see here what we have done, we given an input,
Mm-hmm.
and here you didn't give an input. So it means that okay, we just need to negate our vector. That's how it's working. Let's try to write this one as well, like to understand it better. They uses both the concepts here, operator overloading and function overloading also. So let's try to write one more. Okay. So let's suppose I write like this. Vectors, operator, minus nothing I gave in as input. Means I just want to negate my vector. That's all. So what I want to do.
Okay, okay.
So this dot x is equals to minus this dot x, and similarly this dot y is equals to minus this dot y. Okay. Now it's very important to understand. I want to return my vector. Now to return means I want to return the value type, right? So I need to return like this. Return star. Star is helps to dereference my pointer. So this is type of a pointer only because it contains my of this vector object. And if I want to return it, I want to dereference it, right? That's why I use a
Yep.
star to dereference it to get the value. Like whenever there is a pointer, you want to get the value, you want to access the methods, you can use this arrow operator. If you want to get the value, use the star operator to dereference it. Okay, so let's try to
Okay,
see.
okay.
Let's try to see if you want to v1 v1 dot def. Okay, wait, v1 minus phases 2. What will happen? Let's see. Nothing happens. Okay, let me just check. Expected expression should not vector operator minus. Just a second. This dot y v1 minus. Uh, just a second. What happens? v1. Okay, return this dot. Okay, just a second. Negation. Okay, minus even. Okay, okay. I should add in front. Ooh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, it should be added like this. Hmm. Think happens. Yeah, I think it should work. Maybe let's see. Oh, wait. Something happens. V1 minus. Okay, okay, okay. Let me just check. 1 second. Mm, or V1. Okay, I think I should use the bracket or stuff like that. Okay, okay. I need to. Okay, okay. Got it. Like I'm return. I need to store in the some vector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then it will be fine. Let's say negation is equals to minus v1. Yeah, now I think it will be fine. Yeah, about negation because it's not able to understand it differentiates here. So x and negation y dot values dot y. Yeah, yeah. Like I just negated the my v1 vector, which should be comes negative. So yeah, -1 -2. Okay. This is v1 minus
Yep.
1 1 2 and comes minus. This is how you can like you can play with that. Some different multiply also you can just multiply it similarly using an overload this multiply operator also. And you can similarly equality also like you want to check whether two vectors are equal to or not. So you have to check every x should be equal to x and y should be equals to y. So you can check that as well. If both are true, then only you return true. And if anything false, anything of one of them is not equal, so you'll just return false. That's how internally it is applied, right? Like in strings also, it's checked like that. Okay, if I comes two strings, so how we to need to compare because every character should match, right? Similarly,
Yep.
so this is how internally function over, which is operator overloading. Implemented. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, like the operator binary operator is implemented as a member function. Left hand, I already told you this thing. Like left hand side operand becomes the object for which the operator is called. Like this one, like v1 plus becomes the object. Okay,
Yep.
uh, and the right side operand is passed in as argument to the overloaded operator function. So in the expression sum is equals to v1 plus v2. v1 is the left hand side operand and v2 is the right hand side operand. If plus operator is overloaded as a member function, the vector class v1 object would be the object calling the overloaded plus operator function. Okay. So yeah, we